You are so truly special and loved.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I feel so loved from you today, Maya Labu. And that is what it's all about. And that is what we are getting ready to do right now. We are getting ready to love up on you as we start this discussion, as we start this open dialogue. Good evening, Bethany family, and welcome to another installment of the recap. We like to take this time to just check in with you. I say it all the time, but that mental and spiritual check in is so important, especially starting off with this new work week. So please, I invite you guys to come on in a conversation, enjoy, and also participate in the discussion today as we discuss this momentum series, Wind and Fire.
Yeah,
Wind and Fire.
yeah.
Now, yesterday's sermon, Bishop was touching on some things, and I felt like some souls were touched. It was a little quiet up in the sanctuary, but it was also all good things. But before we get into the sermon, before we get into the recap and that discussion about it, I want to again invite you guys on in. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share. Tag someone, let someone know that we're on right now and what this is all about. Because you make it what it is, right? You are
Absolutely.
a part of the conversation, as Maya always says. You guys are our co-host, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth co-hosts. So we want to
Mhm.
hear from you, and also, just let us know where you're tuning in from, how you're feeling on this Monday. We just coming off of a rainy
Yeah.
weekend. Now we got some sun and it's getting a little cloudy now, but I want to hear where you're tuning in from. How's your day? How's your Monday going? Coming off of work and everything, right? So, Maya, how you feeling as I get my camera right?
I feel good. It's been a good day. Like you said yesterday, there definitely was a lot of rain. But I know it's nourishment, just like our worship service yesterday was so nourishing to our souls from the worship, the testimony that was shared, and of course the good word. So from all that, I'm feeling very good and ready for the rest of this week.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I did not forget. Happy birthday to Keefe, who I saw
Happy
in service
birthday!
yesterday. And he said today is a special day, and it is a special day. It's his special day. So happy birthday to you, Keefe. We are just so thankful that you're tuning in and enjoying your birthday
Yeah, and you're
with
finally the
us.
same age as Kevin. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you. And also shout out to everyone that is tuning in. Please make sure all the secret watchers drop a comment, drop an emoji, let us know that you're tuning in. And just show a whole lot of love. And if you see someone in the comments, shout them out as well and just say, good afternoon, good evening. Because you never know what type of Monday someone had,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, Maya, we have been making the announcements on Engage Live about everything that's happening around the plaza, whether it's in person or virtual. So, what is happening Monday nights? If someone has not tuned in or has not heard this announcement, what is something that's happening tonight?
Yeah, guys. So make sure you listen to this because we're all very excited to be doing this once again. We are back for our in person Embrace classes with Bishop David G. Evans. This is for new members or people who just want a refresher or to stay connected with us in this way. We're just going through biblical foundations and just really great words outside of our normal church service hours. And again, this is led by Bishop David G. Evans and it is tonight and every Monday at 7 p.m. So if you are in the area, we want you to come out and join us. If you are part of our Connections Church family, meaning that you're, geographically locked out, not in this area, you should have received an email earlier this morning or earlier this week with the link on how to still join online. But our Embrace classes really are an amazing experience, a deeper dive into the Word, but it also is a great way to fellowship and ask questions that we might not be able to do during our normal church hours. So, hope to see you there online and in person. It really is a great time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And praise God for that. So happy that we're back to Embrace class, like you said, is so
Mhm.
important. Sometimes Wednesdays and Sundays are not enough for us, right? So you get
Yeah,
that biblical teaching, you get to ask those questions, right? You get it
absolutely.
one. like in that setting, and you're learning with
Mhm,
other people. And that's, I feel, so important when it comes to church and fellowshipping, that we are using each other to grow and learn. So
mhm.
there's no better way to, start your week off but with our new members class, right?
Absolutely. And for Wednesday, we also have our noonday Bible studies that are back to being in person. So I know sometimes people don't like driving in the dark at nighttime. I'm one of those people. Our noonday embrace classes, our noonday Bible study, rather, are a great way to, get that word at an earlier time in the day. So that's happening on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. in person.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, speaking of things that's happening, we have this new series, Momentum, happening. We are keeping that
Yeah.
momentum with God as we continue on in this new year. And Bishop, with this series, like I said, this week, he was touching on some things. Most importantly, talking about sometimes that hate that we give out, or that hate that we have for individuals, whether, they're present in our life or from our past, right? But
Mhm,
he titled this week's sermon again, Wind and Fire. And he started off talking about the importance of influencers, right? And he
mhm.
says that the Holy Spirit gives us the power to influence people. The
Yeah.
reason why some people around you are not saved is because you don't testify enough through your conversations with them, right? What I love that Bishop, when it came to this conversation about hate and how we testify to people, I love that he started off by talking about the different types of influencers, right? Because you always
Mhm.
hear that, especially in our generation, talking about, I want to be an influencer, I want to be an influencer, but what are you influencing? And I feel
Right.
like when it comes to deciding to be an influencer, I think that's the most important thing. That's the first question that you have to ask yourself. What are you going to influence? How are you
Mhm.
going to influence it? And is this something that you live by? Because what I see a lot in our generation now is that there's so many people that want to be influencers, but they're doing something that they would not do for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, an influencer is one of those words for me, especially working in social media, that I don't like. I don't like using that word because influencer for me always relates to relationship with Christ and how you're sharing him with others.
Hmm.
Anything else is sharing in a trade, whether it be
Hmm.
clothes, music, whatever. That's sharing in something that you're enjoying, a hobby. But influencer is something that I is a word that I don't take lightly because there is such an impact attached to it.
Hmm.
Going back to that question, what are you sharing? If you're an influencer, you should be sharing the love of Christ, as far as I'm
Right.
concerned.
Absolutely. And that's what, like Bishop is saying, that, those, you wonder why those that you hang out with are not saved, is because when you're around those people, are you acting saved? Are
Mhm.
you talking about your walk with Christ? Not saying that you got to always say, oh, you just all have to, your presence should speak volumes, if that makes sense, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
It's one thing to talk and to say, what are your actions actually proving
Yes.
about your character and who you're
Yes.
professing to be as a child of God.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like I said, he started off talking about these influencers, and then he started talking about, that wind and fire, right? And he talked about this fire of God is a transformative fire and not a destructive fire, right? If someone hates you, then they don't love God. And in return, if you hate someone, then you don't love God.
Mhm.
Hate and anger may have made you feel strong, but you can't justify the hate. You can't justify that hate. The person that you have been mad at is controlling a part of your heart. And if you hate someone, it actually means there is some sense of jealousy there. This
Mhm.
camera is going crazy.
I know, you're having hate for your, camera right now.
I do. I really do. Hate builds over time, and hate is looking for a place to express itself. So, first off, what I can say about this camera is that it's really being a hater right now. Um, but no, honestly, to Bishop's point about everything, what I love what he said is that sometimes we have this hate, and people like to justify why they hate someone.
Hmm.
And there's no type of hate that you can justify, no matter what they did to you. I know that we say, oh my gosh, this person may have stole from us, may have lied to us, may have done X, Y, and Z. But for me, and this is why I always say when I hear someone say, I hate this, I hate that, um, I try to I try to eliminate certain words from my vocabulary.
Hmm.
And hate is one of those words because we know how much weight words hold. And
Yeah.
hate is such a strong feeling that is so negative. So I feel like when you always say that you hate someone or you hate a situation, it just it just really reveals what type of mindset you have. You don't have a positive mindset in my eyes. You have a negative mindset.
Hmm.
So when Bishop talked about how people sometimes justify their hate, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is true.
Yeah. I think hate, it takes more work to hate and to hold on to that anger
Mhm,
with someone or something than it does to finally find that peace,
mhm,
not negating the process of getting there.
mhm,
But I think it takes a larger effort, and when we're trying to share that with others that's trying to prove a point or to get people to your side or to make something that might be irrational rational to
yeah,
justify what your
mhm,
feelings might be.
yeah, absolutely.
Not
And
negating the root
mhm,
of the hurt that
right,
exists for you, or,
right,
the causes and what that happened. That's not one's not negating the other.
yeah. No, but what I was going to say is that, like Bishop said, if you hate someone, it actually means that there's a sense of jealousy there.
Yeah.
So when you, like he said, when someone that's a racist, when you have a strong emotion about something that you hate, I feel like it re- it reveals some truth within you. So if you have a strong emotion about something that you can't stand or you hate it, I think it actually reveals to you that you tend to actually have not only jealousy but some envy towards it as
Mhm.
well, right?
Because I'm gonna
And I
say, like,
think
if
that's why you hate it so strong because it's actually revealing you.
yeah, it could reveal what your insecurities are and the things in yourself that
Mhm.
you're wishing were improved or weren't comfortable in.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we want to hear from you guys as well. I know we jump right in this thing, but we want to hear your perspectives. We want to hear any questions, any thoughts, any opinions that you have of this week's sermon because it was a much needed conversation, right?
Yeah.
So Bishop continued. He said, how do you love someone passionately and now you hate them? What you can't stand is your decision to love them. You are mad at yourself because they are not what you wanted them to be. Hatred is also a fire, not one that strengthens, but it consumes. You don't have the right to hate anybody. The word hate means to be set against a thing. Once you hate one person, then you will start to look for other people to hate. You don't have to like them to love them. Sometimes it's
Mm.
so hard to let hate go. This is because it has become a companion for some that has had it for so long. So Maya, let's talk about how some people have made hate a companion because they just they're just so used to it.
Mhm.
And go ahead, I'll let you go.
Yeah, like I said, we've talked about this before, maybe not in the same context, but just how comfortable it can feel to remain in the struggle or to remain in the hate because it's something that you know. So there's comfort there, And that's what's truly sad, I think, about all of this, is that there are people who are just comfortable sitting in that hate,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And when you find comfortability in that hate, like I said, going back to my last point, I think it reveals a lot about you.
Mhm.
How can you actually, we're learning about being a blessing to others and showing God's love, but how can you wholeheartedly show God's love if you hold on, you find a companionship in this feeling called hate? I don't know why we tend to be so surprised when we say, "Oh my gosh, like God's not hearing my prayers." It's not that God's not hearing your prayers. He hears you, but he's waiting for you to demonstrate some love, some grace, some mercy that he has shown to you already.
Mhm. And also, where there is love, there is God. If you're
Mhm.
filling up your heart with hate, how are you leaving room for God to exist there as well? The
Absolutely.
two don't it doesn't mix. You can't have hate
Mhm.
and God in the same space.
So what I love about what Bishop said, he said how going back to what he said, how do you love someone passionately and now hate them? And is and basically what it stems down to is that you can't stand the decision that you made by loving them because they didn't turn out to what you wanted to be. So that
Mm,
took me back to so many broken relationships, so many broken friendships that you may have had. And it's just like, you're not mad at that person. You're mad that you allowed that person, you gave them that access to your
mhm.
vulnerability, to who you thought they could be or who you wanted them to be, who you try to build them up to be when you it's so important, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, you have to allow people to reveal themselves to you and take it for who they are,
Mhm.
right? Like, if you gonna show that you was a stealer, a cheater, a killer, you gonna have it on that side.
Uh-huh.
I feel like we tend to push things under the rug and be like, oh no, I can look past that, I can look past this. But then when it gets to a point when you can't look past it, you're looking like a fool, then you have this hate towards them. Why do you have this hate towards them when you know who you are? You would not accept that, right? So
Yeah,
you're actually mad at yourself.
and that resentment. That
Mhm.
resentment is real. And I was gonna say, like, there's so many pink and red flags that are out there, and you know it, you see it, but for whatever reason, like you said, you turn a blind eye or you
Mhm.
justify or, "Oh, I'm sure that they didn't mean it that way." So it
Mhm.
really, I think, requires a sit down with yourself
Mhm.
and really getting down to the root, like you said, Kev, as to why you're allowing this to take place in your life. What is
Yeah.
it about you that is making it okay?
Yes. Absolutely. And hearing this whole hate conversation, um, like I said, is definitely necessary for your growth and for you becoming more intimate with God in that secret place. But why I feel like it's so necessary is because I feel like we've been so afraid to have these conversations because it's going to reveal so much about ourselves. But not only
Mhm.
that, it also reveals to us that we have not healed properly.
Yeah.
We have not been intentional about our healing. And
Mhm.
when we have not been intentional about our healing, it steps into other areas of our lives, whether it's through work, whether it's through our personal interactions with people, whether it's
Mhm.
through our personal relationships. How about our relationship with God? So when
Mhm.
we have not healed properly, we set perfect example. The older that you get, you learn more about your family. You hear about those generational curses, but those generational curses in my eyes have been birthed because the generation prior to you did not heal properly.
Yeah.
So it's just continuing on. It's just a cycle.
Yeah, it
So
is.
when it comes to this hate conversation, I feel like the whole root of it all is that in order for you to heal properly and understand your healing process, you got to first get that hate out your heart. And that's why I love, like, during the service yesterday when Bishop asked, like, yo, if you, like, he didn't say yo, but I'm just saying, if you have some hate in your heart right now, if you're experiencing that, don't be ashamed. Stand up. We're going to say this prayer
Yeah.
because that may be blocking the
Mhm.
blessing that you have been praying for years.
Absolutely. Because the first step to healing is acknowledging. You can't heal if you don't
Mhm,
know where the root is, right? So, no,
mhm,
that was a beautiful moment yesterday. And I think this can also be a pitfall for some as to why some might feel like Christianity doesn't work. Because I think that
mm,
it's easy to adopt that mindset of, oh, I got saved, everything's gonna be butterflies and roses, and life is gonna be perfect, and da da da. I'm
yeah.
gonna overcome this, I'm gonna heal from that, and blah blah blah
Mhm,
blah. Right? Not
yeah.
saying that's not true for some, but we forget that it's a process. Just like any relationship, it takes time for it
Yeah.
to grow and to heal and to become whole in who you are, right? In that relationship.
Yeah.
And we've said this
Absolutely.
before as millennials, sometimes we give up too easily when we don't see things happening the way that we want. We're not
Mhm.
allowing for that relationship to grow. We're not allowing
Absolutely.
time for us to heal in the relationship of being a
Absolutely.
Christian, you
No,
know? So
absolutely.
it's a process, and as Pastor Nick says, no one likes that word. It's a curse word, but it's something that we all have to go through.
Yeah, and going back to the initial start of this sermon for this week, when Bishop started breaking down the different types of influencers, it just is a whole 360. How can you call yourself an influencer if you have not healed properly? So
Mhm.
you're influencing that same unsettled problem, right? Undelivered problem. You're
Yep.
influencing the next person on how to deal with something when you haven't even dealt with your own hate,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an endless cycle. It's an endless cycle, but the good thing about it is that we all have the power to change it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you, like you said, I think the first step, not I'm going to say I think, I know the first step is addressing that and, you know, being honest with God. Like we've said countless times, sometimes I feel like we're like afraid that God is going to get offended by what we say. Like just because you're a Christian does not mean that your faith is going to be 100 all the time. You're going
Mhm.
to, your faith, I feel like our faith is stronger for others than it is for ourselves.
Mm.
And when you're just real with God and you just say, God, like, my faith is not all the way there. Like, I still have some
Yeah.
brokenness from this last relationship, from this last friendship, which is why I tend to shut people out now.
Mhm.
Why, you may have been hurt in the past by relationships, by friendship, and you may say, oh, that's why I'm not joining a ministry because ain't nobody going to hurt me no more. Right?
Yep.
You are literally closing doors on you. You are your own worst enemy. So I feel like first addressing that and being honest with God and being truthful is what's going to help you be healed
Yeah.
from that brokenness, from that hate that you may have in your heart.
Mhm. Absolutely. There's nothing that God hasn't heard already. The good, the bad, and the ugly. He's heard it all. Whether we want him to or not. So
Absolutely.
all he's looking for us is to be authentic, real.
Yeah.
God, what's up? I love you,
God, what's
but
up?
what's up?
That should be like a shirt. God, what's up? Like
God, what's
it's
up?
like like that's it. That's it. That's all it
Mhm.
is. That's all I have, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And I mean, I'm not God, but I think he would appreciate that,
Mhm.
because it's opening
Absolutely.
up the door for him to show you and to move and say, look, this is what's up. This is what you're gonna have to go through, but this is why.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, if you enjoyed this last 25 minutes of this conversation around this momentum series and this sermon in particular about dealing with the hate that you may have. I encourage you to go back and watch it, right? We are just the appetizer to the entree that we were fed yesterday. So
Yeah.
I invite you to let someone know when you hear these. Sometimes we hear sermons and we may not say that it applies to us, but it may
Yeah.
apply to your mom. It may apply to your best friend. It may apply to your coworker. This is what God wants you to do. He wants you to share it, not just
Yeah.
by clicking the button, but by also having that open discussion and that open dialogue with someone, right? Because that's how
Yeah.
we learn from each other and from that conversation. Um, but as always, it is a pleasure. But before we go anywhere, Maya, let us know what's happening this week. I know we have Embrace class tonight. We have noon Bible study on Wednesday. But what are some other things that we can expect throughout this week?
Yeah, so tomorrow we have our Focus Singles Ministry. So for all the singles out there, this is for you. Pastor Valerie Prescott will be sharing a great message on just how to remain strong in your singlehood and not to, get
Amen.
discouraged in the process, right? So that's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Wednesday, of course, we have our 7 p.m. Word Impact Gathering in person as well as online, but we really want you to come out and to fellowship with us. We've been learning about so much for our Bible studies, dreams and so on and so forth. So if you haven't made it to that yet, definitely come out with us on Wednesday. On Saturday, we have On Point Radio with Bishop and Pastor Nick. It is a great opportunity for you to have dialogue with them about things that are happening around the country, around the world. You can call in, ask them your questions, and they will give you very real answers.
Oh yeah, that's
So
never
they
great.
don't hesitate. So definitely be part of that conversation on Saturday at 9 a.m. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have a full day of worship, starting with our virtual service, our online only service at 8 a.m., and then our in person 11 o'clock encounter worship experience. Come out, fellowship with us, invite a friend, let them know what's up at Bethany. These past few weeks have been phenomenal in worship and just how good the word has been with this momentum series. So don't miss out. This is something that is really going to bless your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as always, Bethany family, it is a pleasure, it's an honor, it's our prayer that you have a blessed and safe rest of your week. And we look forward to seeing you in person or online. Be
Yep.
blessed.
Bye.